All right, and welcome back, guys. So we saw the Dankening take Game 2 there in our quarterfinal match with an amazing Lord kill there at the end. We are now going to show the Dankening in the semifinal match against a team you guys might have heard of. They are the NA representative from WTS. They're also the winner of the first ever WTS finals event in Beijing that happened this past week. So we have the champs right now in our server getting ready to face off against the Dankening. So this is going to be a fantastic match for you guys. It's our first look today at those WTS finals winners they've made it back from Beijing to play in this cup. So we're going to be showing now the Abjured versus the Dankening here in the first semifinal match of the day of the ESL Go4Cup. Cup number 6. So we're going to go ahead and hop in the server right away. Let's take a look at the Abjured, take a look at what builds they're running, since this is the first time that we've seen these guys. Let's go ahead and start on Fanaram. Hirix, why don't you tell us what Fanaram's running?
Yeah, we got a couple of sub-ins today. We got Fanaram coming up first. Fanaram is going to be running Dagger, Celestial Ellie right now with Runes of the Holbrack. He's going to be running the trait set of 00266. Pretty standard DDLE right there. H-Man subbing in today. Looks like he's going to also be running the same thing here. Pretty standard Celestial DDLE with Runes of the Holbrack. Same trait setup of 00266. Moving on now to Magic Toker. He's going to be playing Thief. He's going to be playing that Sword Dagger Acrobatics build that we've seen a couple of times today. Rune of Strength, Berserker Amulet, the trait setup being 2066. Moving on now to Noskog. Nos is actually going to be using Path of Corruption as well. We're used to seeing him use that, and we've seen that again a couple of times today. Karina earlier running that as well. Scepter Dagger, Staff running with Runes of the Nightmare, and Carrying Amulet, this trait setup being 06404. Next up, we have Hercule. Hercule is actually 5 gauge. He's going to be running Rifle Celestial, running with Runes of the Holbrack, and the trait setup of 60044. Next up, we got Zeusy. He's still going to be running his same build. Dagger. He's going to be running Rune of Ore. I'm not actually sure if he actually wound up running that. I didn't actually get a chance to see, but I'm going to go ahead and assume he actually is running that. So interesting concept with the poison duration. I'm not really sure. I feel like maybe he's doing it for the quickness, or maybe he's just trolling us.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll have to take a look.
I know. We'll have to check that out in game.
So Kinsuda running the same thing as before as well. He's going to be running the double consecration, running with 00644. Same build as before with Mercy Runes. Next up, we got Muffins. He's running Thief. He's going to be running the same build as before as well. 60206 Dagger Pistol, Rune of the Pack, Berserker Amulet. Legend Sup Cutie going to be doing the same as well, running Staff, Great Sword, Shatter, running 44006. And last but not least, we have Frank Underwood going to be playing Celestial Dagger Ellie, Rune of Holbrack as well, running the trait setup of 00266.
So it's not the full Abjured team that we saw over in the WTS finals. It's very interesting. The Abjured able to have some subs in today. Their roster is packed with some of the best players, though, in North America, so that team won't be skipping a beat today, even though they don't have their full WTS roster. It's going to be interesting to note that they probably won't be skipping a beat. These are all high-level players on that roster, so we're going to go ahead and watch how these teams split on Forest while we're waiting for both teams to ready up. I'm going to go ahead and just explain the map to you guys. If you're just tuning in, the cap points are kind of in the shape of a triangle, and it's pretty easy to get to the opposing far node on Forest, so you're going to see both teams stacking up on that side gate there, possibly maybe going for a far push, depending on what kind of strategy they want to use. Is, like I said, it's very easy to get over there to the far node if you want to, using that side gate. And as you see, the Abjured has done that. They are sending at least one member, it looks like possibly 3, over to the mine right now. You have Sub Cutie and Muffins. We're waiting for those members, though, of the Abjured, possibly just something that they've known about for a long time, of something the Abjured likes to do, which is push that far node on this map. But Zeus right away able to get on that node and at least keep it neutral. In the meantime, the Dankening didn't send anybody over to Henge, so Nas was able to get the free cap on Henge, no problem for the blue team. So the Abjured has already started to build a small lead there, but Zeus able to get the full cap despite members of the blue team being around him at the time. Zeus doing a great job getting the full cap, preventing that lead from building any longer. So despite the cross there, right now, both teams were able to get their close node. But oh no, Zeus taking a lot of damage, forcing himself to back off of the point there. He's even going to have to pop his Signet heals. He tries to get away there from 5-Gauge, but 5-Gauge pulls him back with a Magnet, puts him into the downstate for Fanaram to cleave out. Great play there by 5-Gauge, dragging Zeus back over to him to prevent Zeus from escaping there. Zeus is going to just get cleaved out or be left to bleed out there over on the mine. And it looks like the Abjured is just going to build a little bit of momentum here now that they've brought Zeus into the downstate. But it's still anybody's game here. Neither team has been able to get a clear advantage yet, as we do see a 1v1 between Frank Underwood and H-Man developing here on the keep. There's two Dagger Hellies going at it, but we have a member of the red team, that is Kensuda, sliding over to try to help +1 that fight, but it looks like it's just going to be stalemated, where all the real action is over by that mine. It's interesting to note that the Abjured, even though they took out Zeus, they were not able to get a decap on that node. That decap just came out now, so it's interesting that for a while there, both teams were ticking away and remaining pretty close, but now that the decap has come out, the Abjured is the only team with a cap point right now, and they're putting a lot of pressure over on that mine node. So we're going to start to see the Abjured pull away here in the early stages of this map, as nobody from the Dankening has been able to go over to Henge until right now, where Muffins has slid over for the Dankening to finally get a back cap off. It's a good play for his team. Otherwise, the game might have started to get out of hand there. Magic Toker is going very low over here behind the keep, so he's not able to jump on that point and give some damage for H-Man to help heal H-Man right now, who's stuck on the point by himself, with Frank Underwood and Subcutie putting all the damage that they can on him. Zeus, though, is low, so Frank Underwood is going to have to pull over and try to heal up Zeus. Zeus still alive, but just about to go into the downstate, as Kensuda has also been put into the downstate on keep. So it looks like right now the Abjured is going to take full control of the keep, as nobody else from the red team is around. So right now a 2-cap coming out in favor of the Abjured.
Yeah, and it looks like they're all going to be pushing towards that Henge point here, and that's where the next team fight's going to happen. We see H-Man moving down. We see Fanaram hovering those two nodes, just making sure that when red spawns, they're not going to go for them. And it looks like red is actually both Zeus as well as Kensuda are both going to the Henge point right now, and that fight is going to develop with Toker actually on the point. Not the best choice right now, in my opinion, but they need to make sure they can get one of the Ellies over onto that point to start ticking into their favor right now.
Yeah, we just see some high-level play coming out from Fanaram, right? So Fanaram was hanging out in between, and he still is, hanging out between the keep and the mine. This is great because he knows all of the members of the red team right now are fighting on that Henge point, but he's there just in case one decides to break off from that fight early and try to go for a back cap. And no member of the red team has tried to do that, but his positioning is absolutely fantastic, as he's equal distance from both of those points. He knows the second he sees a member of the red team going for a point, he can just go back. And as you see again, I think that's Zeus running over to the mine, and we're going to see a 1v1 starting to develop there. Actually, that's Frank Underwood developing between Fanaram and Frank Underwood over on the mine. But again, Fanaram was in perfect position there to make sure that his team didn't get backcapped while the rest of his team pushed into the Henge. That's just some very high-level positioning that I wanted to point out there. But Muffins was able to get a decap off, as two members of the red team are flooding into that point as well. Subcutie's about to join Muffins onto that point, trying to deal some damage onto Nas, but Muffins has gone very low. He's going to have to back off. Let's see if Kensuda is going to be able to finish off Nas here, as Nas ran right at him, trying to get away, trying to get some heals off. Subcutie, though, and Muffins both down on the point. Kensuda's going to have to try to res one of them. Not enough heals coming out from him, though, as as both members were cleaved out before he could get over there. Kensuda's just going to get trained now by Nas and Magic Tokers. He limps over towards the mine. He's going to die off point, and it looks like Nas is just going to be content leaving him to bleed out, and he's going to come over and +1 that fight over on mine, where Fanaram seems to be getting the better of Frank Underwood right now, but that 1v1 has been going on for quite some time, so I'm sure, either team had an opportunity to +1 that fight at some point. Nas comes in just to finish it off, though. Frank Underwood is going to smartly misform over onto the center of the point just to keep it neutral for a little bit longer. But we're going to see the Abjured just retake their 2-cap here and keep rolling as we get to the later stages of this map. About 9 minutes left in the game. We see the Abjured has pulled ahead by over 100 points now, and they've regained their 2-cap. If they're going to be able to keep the keep here, which they're not, they just got decap. Nas wasn't able to get back there in time. Subcutie managed to get over there and get a decap, so it's a 1v1 between Nas and Subcutie. Nas using that fiery greatsword that Fanaram dropped for him. Interesting there, driving Subcutie off of the point. Nas getting the recap there, and now they're going to push back into Henge. Let's see again. Fanaram probably is going to be in a similar position as he was before, watching for those back caps, while again the rest of his team just rolls into Henge, keeping the pressure on the Dankening. The Dankening just not able to get anything going yet. Hirix.
Yeah, and 2 points right now, covering them right now. The Abjured definitely getting that early game advantage that they always try to look for. H-Man downstated right here. He's just going to be left to bleed out. He's just going to try to get some cleave off on Frank Underwood while they're leaving. They're going to have to regroup here. There's a big fight happening at midpoint right now. Let's take a look at the mid-fight. Kensuda moving up to try to support his team. Noskok already under a little bit of pressure. He's going to have to push Muffins off of him, but he gets dropped here. We're going to have some members of blue team moving up quickly, or else they're going to start slipping away with the advantage that they worked so hard to build. Muffins, Subcutie, as well as Kensuda doing a great job putting some pressure onto this key point right now. They're going to have to look at Fantaram right here. Fantaram sitting on this point, making sure that it does not get decapped, but now Kensuda pushes him right off with the Sanctuary right there, and 5-Gauge moves in real quickly just to make sure that he can't actually get the decap. But there's the Moa that comes out from Subcutie, and now Magic Toker is in the fray as well, and H-Man is back from the dead. But there we go. Look at the map right here, or look at the picture-in-picture. We can see a decap happening from the Necro here. Noskok doing just what we saw Karina doing earlier, and he's going to get a full cap from this. So it's going to come down to, and actually the same thing is happening with Zeus doing the same exact thing over here at Mine. And it looks like 5-Gauge is moving over to make sure that that doesn't go full cap, and it's going to come down to this mid-fight. Who's going to win this team fight?
Yeah, 5-Gauge has to get on that point before Zeus is able to full cap it. Zeus has popped his stability, it looks like, but 5-Gauge doing a great job trying to stay on the point, but there goes the updraft. It's going to be interesting to see if Zeus is going to be able to get a full cap here before 5-Gauge is going to be able to knock him off and try to prevent that from happening. But there goes the slick shoes, knocking him down, and the overcharge shot forcing Zeus off, and the Immob comes out. Great play by 5-Gauge there, but he's going to be forced off the node by Subcutie. Subcutie, by +1ing that fight, basically guaranteed that 5-Gauge was going to have to back off here and try to head back over to the keep. But in the meantime, the Abjured has retaken the keep, and they have taken their close node by Nas sliding over for that back cap earlier. 5-Gauge goes into the downstate from Subcutie. Let's see if they're able to cleave him out, as Frank Underwood is there to try to get a cleave on him. Toker's not even going to bother going for the res. Instead, he's going to go back up into keep and try to put pressure on somebody else. Subcutie on the point, trying to get that control for his team, but just looks like that's not going to be able to happen anytime soon, as it appears H-Man is doing pretty good against Subcutie in that fight. Fanaram slides over to help, so now with Fanaram and H-Man on the point there at keep, that's going to be really hard for the Dankening to take. And, at this point, with the score 450 almost to 218, 5 minutes left, unless something drastic happens here, we're just going to see 5-Gauge turtle up on that close node, and that's basically going to guarantee the game goes in favor of the Abjured. Not missing a beat with having those subs in there. Those subs are all high-level players with great PvP resumes in their name. They're back from China, guys, and they are rolling. It looks like they're going to take this and be 1-0 in the set. No problem. despite some excellent play from the Dankening. It's just not enough against the defending right now WTS first finals champions. So again, congratulations to the Abjured. They're going to go up 1-0 in just a second, and they're going to be one game away from advancing to another finals here at the ESL Go4Cup. So great stuff from the Dankening. You know, they did pretty well at the early stages, just not enough in the mid and late game to pull ahead there. The Abjured was able to keep that fight going on Henge for a long time with just Fanaram covering that 2-cap between the mine and the keep. Fanaram's positioning was fantastic. He was able to watch both nodes, and the rest of his team just piled into Henge, kept it neutral for a very long time. That's where we saw the momentum swing in favor of the Abjured, who just seemed to be biding their time, winning their fights until they were able to get that one moment that put them over the top, as we saw there. So great play coming out from these guys.
Yeah, definitely Abjured showing why they're one of the strongest teams in the game, if not the strongest team after we saw them in WTS. They do have H-Man in right now over the Ostrich Eggs from WTS.
Yep.
But, you know, one thing that I think they have to be careful of is not overcommitting. You know, they definitely caught themselves in a bad situation over there at Henge, overcommitting to that, thinking that they could just push on anything, and they actually lost that team fight a little bit and had to regroup. They lost a little bit of people at Keep. They lost Noskok right there as well. They're going to have to make sure that they keep things organized, keep things from getting a little bit too, overconfident maybe, and make sure that they just keep things safe, you know?
Yeah, you know what? I think the Dankening had a moment in that game that they could have maybe made a comeback, and that was when they got two members of the blue team on respawn. They managed to kill the rest of blue team on the Henge point, and they were rolling into Keep with a substantial amount of numbers. I think it was 4 of them rolling into Keep. I thought, oh, here we go. Here's some actual momentum for the Dankening in that mid to late stage of the game. But, you know, the Abjured handled it well. They handled it like pros. They were able to sustain themselves on Keep until their teammates respawned and came back into that fight. So that was just fantastic play from both teams, but the Abjured just too strong for the Dankening right now. Let's see if their fortunes improve, though, as we go to Legacy of the Faux Fire. The Abjured is up 1-0, one game away from going into the finals of this Go4Cup. Let's see if the Dankening is able to even the score here. Remember, I'm going to just briefly describe this map again for the third time today. Graveyard, very big point. Very hard to decap once it's been capped, and you cannot forget the Guild Lords, guys. That came up last game with a great moment there at the end. It's worth 150 points. Each team has a Guild Lord, one in the top right corner, one in the bottom left corner. Remember, at 100, they're worth 150 points. So once you have 350 points or more, that's an instant win for your team if you kill it. But both teams have readied up, it seems. So we're going to go ahead and see how they split here. If you're the Dankening, you've got to win this one, because it's match point now. The Abjured has taken the first game. Let's go ahead and see how they split here for the early stages of the game. All right, and we've got, let's see here, 3 members, it looks like, of the red team going over to the quarry to guarantee that cap, and 2 members of the red team going over to the graveyard. That's a very conservative split, and I've seen them do that multiple times against the Abjured, not wanting to be too aggressive against a team that has just been dominating so far in the early going stages of these tournaments. So Fanaram is going to go over there for the Abjured, but he's going to get almost basically 100 to 0 right there by members of the red team. Zeus is going to knock him off the point. Not enough, though, to yeah, Zeus saying no. Not enough there to get the full knock off, so he can't let Fanaram just bleed out there. Updraft just didn't get it the launch far enough for him. He was going to just try to let Fanaram sit there and bleed, which would have prevented him from rezzing and helping his teammates for a lot longer there. But Zeus is going to guarantee the quarry for his team. Because they were conservative, though, the Abjured, the Dankening basically allowed the Abjured to cap their close nodes. So we're going to see right away a big team fight happening here on the graveyard very early on. What this is going to come down to is if any team is able to get the advantage here early, that's going to be fantastic. But most of the time you see teams try to gain advantage quickly. If they don't, they break off and try to go for these side nodes.
And it's all about that split, too. They did something that TCG normally does, actually, with a really safe split, not pushing anyone to the far node, making sure that they can burst down a target very quickly and win their home node and push the fight to mid. That way, they secure their home node while letting the other node go, but they're now creating a 4v5 situation for that mid fight. Right now, they actually, blue team, the Abjured, actually did a very good job of reacting to that, making sure that they hold mid while also zoning out Waterfall, making sure that nobody can slide over and grab that. The Thief, Magic Toker, moving over to Quarry to try to put some pressure and kind of pull them back towards their own side was a great plan of action to make sure that nobody could get over there and put some pressure on their node while they were in a 4v5 waiting for Phantom to get back up.
Frank Underwood has gone down at mid, and we saw Phantom was actually stomped out over close to the Quarry there a little bit ago, but it didn't really seem to hurt the Abjured too much as they're able to get Frank Underwood cleaved out, no problem. Nas was going a little low there, but Phantom doing a great job healing for his teammate there, as a DD Ellie should be trying to do whenever one of his teammates goes down. So it looks like the Abjured is going to be rolling here as they get onto Kensuda. Kensuda going very low as well. He's going to go down. Muffins is also down and cleaved out, so it's just Kensuda down on this point. The Abjured won the Graveyard fight very quickly, in my opinion. Not as they weren't as slow taking that point as we normally see there. So let's see if they're able to get it full capped before any member of the red team is able to hop on it. Subcutie, though, was able to get that decap over there on Waterfall. So even though blue team was able to secure themselves a cap on Graveyard, on that very coveted Graveyard point, they've lost their close node. 5Gauge is now fighting Subcutie in a 1v1, and here come the Shatters, but 5Gauge pulling out that gear shield and blocking right away, trying to right away put more damage pressure on Subcutie. Here comes H-Man coming over to help his teammate. That's going to be really helpful for 5Gauge, but Muffins has hopped onto 5Gauge as well, so he's forced to pop his healing turret and try to heal some of that damage that was being pushed on him, some of that high burst. Kensuda has arrived as well. That's going to add more might and support for his teammates, so that's not good for 5Gauge and H-Man, but they're in a 2v3 situation, and they've gotten Subcutie down as Nas has slid over to help his teammate. So has Magic Toker, so they managed to get Subcutie down and out of the fight. In the meantime, they were able to full cap the Quarry, win and full cap that Quarry, no problem. So they have a 2-cap while holding Waterfall neutral, and it looks like winning that fight on Waterfall. So Kensuda goes down, about to be stomped out over there. So Abjured is actually 3-capping the Dankening right now. It looks like they're going to be able to steamroll on this map if they keep playing the way that they're doing. As once you have a solid lead on this map, you can really watch where the other team is going to try to mass and counter rotate for them. 5Gauge is going to take advantage of this lull in the fighting to try to bring down some of the damage on that gate. He's kind of given up on that, though, and slid it over to the Quarry node, where he's going to try to help his teammate Nas, who has been hanging out there trying to keep that point at least neutral with Phantom and Toker. So, Herix, what do you see going on over at this Quarry node?
Toker actually being pushed off the point a little bit, because what Dankening did was they gathered everybody up after being dropped and respawned, and they got everybody going in at the same time and trying to pressure targets as soon as they jumped in. They got Toker low, they got Nos low as well, but it just wasn't enough to drop them full dead. Toker kind of jumping around his own refuge just to stay away from Muffins' short bow 2s there. Subcutie actually goes down here, but they're going to get the res off just in time for him to get up instead of getting flagged out there. He's going to try to pop some conditions off, but just right like that, Toker and H-Man all over him. H-Man getting the stomp out. Frank not quick enough and getting the CC early enough for him to save his friend there. And now Nas trying to reel away from this right now under heavy pressure from the members of Red Team. So it looks like what's happening here is Blue Team definitely controlling this fight. Muffins is very low. And as soon as it's going to come down to Noskok going down first or Muffins, and there we go, Noskok down right here. A lot of resin coming out, but the stomp comes out a little bit quicker, and now it's going to come down to who can control this node, who's going to move off, what are they going to do? Blue Team already has those 2 points, so they're collecting right now. They're collecting 2 points every single tick that's happening right here. They're going to pull back to mid and let Red potentially take that cap. Right now, Fantaram drops right here. A little bit of miscommunication with the stomp there, and that's actually going to make this decap take a little bit longer.
Yeah, and you know what? They were trying to pull back. Blue team was trying to get away from the red team. They realized, you know what? We have a 2-cap. We've lost one of our members. We've lost Nas. Why don't we pull back from this fight? But as we saw, H-Man was actually taken down as well momentarily, and it looks like they might have been able to get him back up on that graveyard node, but that was a dangerous moment for the Abjured as they've now lost all of their cap points. Subcutie is rolling here, trying to get the waterfall cap for his team. At the same time, Corey has been capped by the red team, and they do. Blue team has sent 5-gauge over there to contest that point, but with no points in favor of the Abjured and members of the red team hanging around waterfall, it looked like they might have been able to get a comeback there, but Subcutie's just not able to stand on that point, so he's going to roll over and try to bring down Nas and Toker and H-Man over here now on the graveyard as we're seeing a team fight develop there, but Subcutie goes into the downstate. Zeus and Consider, though, right there to pick him up, so it's great teamwork there by the red team. H-Man is going to be forced off of the point there momentarily, but he's going to come back in using that water attunement to heal himself up and get back into the fight to help his teammates there. You know, a lot of high-level play coming out here, though. Neither team really gaining an advantage in this fight, but with the score being 150 to 336, we do have to say that the Abjured is pulling away pretty comfortably in this match, especially with 5-gauge now, it looks like, getting the cap on Corey.
Yeah, and with that, Noscock hovering just to make sure that that actually does go off. Frank Underwood kind of slides in underneath, trying to put some pressure onto 5-gauge, playing as Hercule here, and it's going to be a 1v1, but Noscock moving